Camelot. Camelot. It's only a model. Shh.
Okay.
Welcome, Space Ones, Generals, and Kofvifi, to the 209th episode of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 31st of May, 2017, and featuring Pyramid at the End of the World, written by Peter Harness and Stephen Moffat, and starring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, and Matt Lucas as Nardole. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and with me are Mad Matt Winchell.
I got to play Jason tonight.
Randy Ronson McCulloch,
I've got numb tongue.
Aaron Romeo Moon Burke,
I consent to these Kit Kat minis.
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan,
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
and Thomas Fireheart Kennedy.
Hey, guys.
The most normal one of us.
Right. An anticlimax.
The Australian always ruins it.
Aw.
You normie. Oh.
Join us. Join
So
us.
yes, Ran has some dental and/or medical issues tonight, so he won't be as large a presence in the podcast as he normally is.
That means we're gonna have to fill in for him. Everybody make some noise.
And I don't know if you hear the thunder in the background, but if things go poorly, I may not be as much of a presence either, so we'll see what happens.
Slight
Bill's
rumbling,
house
but nothing
blows
too
away.
loud, so it's not going to affect things too much.
Hopefully, yeah.
Nothing else will be ambiance for the listeners.
I think it's already receding, which if so is pretty quick.
Happens.
All right, so let's continue on with birthdays. Okay, for the 25th of May, Sir Ian McKellen turned 78. Turned 78. Ian is better known for his other contributions to geekdom, including Magneto from the first 3 X-Men movies, as well as X-Men Days of Future Past, and as Gandalf from Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. Was there an issue, or?
You're chopping out a lot, Aaron.
Huh?
You're chopping out a lot. I don't know what's going on with that.
I'm going to turn off the live stream then, because
That might be what's causing you an issue. Yeah.
Oh yeah, might be
I've got working on my end now, so you don't have to watch it as much now.
yeah, we've
Pause
also
it and you can just
lost
monitor the
Randy.
chat. Oh.
No, we haven't lost me.
Okay.
I
You
was
were
just
trying
going to
to
say,
talk.
yeah, what you did forget to mention was the fact that in Doctor Who, he's known for being the voice of the Great Intelligence and the Snowmen.
Mm-hmm.
For that one particular role, yes.
Well, that wasn't in the description that was written here.
Yes, it was. It's right in parentheses, right after Sir Ian McKellen.
Oh, I ignore everything in parentheses. Otherwise, I
for
read
birthdays, you can't do that because
Parentheses.
the parenthesis after the name is what his role is. So
Yeah.
You skipped something important there. Don't do that, please.
Oh, excuse
Alright,
me.
next-
It
next
says
birthday.
remember.
it's okay. Aaron's not used to doing birthdays. It's usually my thing, but because of the frickin'
Just notation for the
Swollen
next
tongue.
ones. So anyway, moving along.
Shall I read our banter too? Okay. We actually have banter scheduled. All right. So
already
May
covered that.
26th, Peter Cushing, who would have been 104 but died in 1994 at age 81. He is known as the Doctor in, of course, the non-canon 60s movies. At least we think they're non-canon.
They're
Peter-
cheesy, but they're non-canon. And they're fun.
Peter is best known for his role in Hammer Studios horror films from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, where he played Dr. Frankenstein and Van Helsing. Of course, sci-fi geeks know him best as Grand Moff Tarkin from Star Wars, a role he got to posthumously fill again in last year's Rogue One thanks to the magic of cinema. Of course, that's referring to the digital overlay effect that they use.
Mm-hmm. And someone trying their best to be him.
Mm-hmm. All right. May 29th, Pearl Mackie celebrated her 30th birthday. She, of course, plays Bill Potts in Series 10 of Doctor Who. Pearl is, by and large, a stage actress, having done several theater productions, most recently a 2-year stint as various roles in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime at the West End's National Theatre. However, you don't know what Pearl has been up to recently. Where have you been?
Very true.
The hotel.
All right, May 31st, Lynda Bellingham, also known as Madame Inquisitor for Trial of the Time Lord, would have been 69 but died in 2014 at the age of 66. She is probably best known for her role as the second Helen Harriet in All Creatures Great and Small alongside Peter Davison.
She has a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces roles, but that's the one that she's best known for.
All right, and that's it for birthdays. And there are no death days.
Yay.
Yay.
No one passed away this time.
Hooray.
Not from Doctor Who, anyway.
Yeah.
So, overnight
All right,
viewings.
Tim.
Overnight viewings. We have overnight viewings for Pyramid at the End of the World with 4.01 million viewers, and that's a share of 20.4% of the total TV audience. According to unofficial figures, not official, unofficial. And top for BBC One that day was coverage of the FA Cup final, which preceded the Doctor and had an average of 6.43 million watching, and the football had a peak audience of 9.56 million. Overall, ITV's Britain's Got Talent was once more top of the day, and that had 8.38 million watching. It was down slightly from the previous week. The Keith and Patty picture show on ITV had 3.24 million watching, while on BBC One, Mrs. Brown's Boys had 3.11 million. Doctor Who is currently 31st for this week. Final figures should be available in 8 days' time. Place your bets now!
You'll be lucky if it hits 25. Next.
And we have reaction for Pyramid at the End of the World from the media. Overall, it seems to be saying that this is a step up from Extremis. And I am noticing that the Radio Times says it brings to mind a 1970s serial called Survivors from Terry Nation, which also had the idea of one slip from a scientist and deadly bacteria will escape and wipe out all life on the planet.
I remember Survivor Show. It's one of those things that they showed on PBS every now and again.
Says the AV Club said the episode was mediocre, but it was saved by the fantastic climax.
Yeah, I read the AV Club's reviews. These are the same people that have rated every episode of Class above average, like in the A- to B+ level. So I don't trust their judgment anymore.
Yeah, I don't trust AV's judgment anymore. I think they're full of shite. They praise horrible tripe and they downvote what is generally kind of trying to upswing.
So far, that's basically the most interesting things I'm seeing on these reviews.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along.
Moving right along. We have Australian overnight ratings for Pyramid and final ratings for Oxygen. The Pyramid debuted in Australia and it averaged 420,000 viewers in the 5 major capital cities. It was the second highest rating ABC drama of the day and the 12th highest rated program of the day overall. These ratings do not include iView, regional, or time-shifted viewers. Including time-shifted viewers, Oxygen averaged 529,000 consolidated viewers in the 5 major capital cities, and with 92,000 extra viewers, it was the 4th highest time-shifted program of the day. The 2 equal highest time-shifted programs both had 107,000 extra viewers, and it was the 11th highest rating program of the day overall.
So it went up a spot compared to what the current one is. Okay.
Yep. Now, going on to the Audience Appreciation Index, or AI, Pyramid of the End of the World had a number of 82. Seems to be the usual number for a Doctor Who episode.
The normal low average, yeah. Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure how they go about these ratings.
Yeah. The highest score of the evening of the 2 main channels was Mrs. Brown's Boys, scored an 85. So that's
Which I understand. I actually watched a little bit of Mrs. Brown's Boys. If you like sitcoms, it's hilarious. I don't know if any of you remember the 80s to 90s sitcom Mama's Family.
Nope.
Now imagine the role of Mama being played by a very ugly man. That's essentially Mrs. Brown's Boys. Only, of course, it being Britishy. But it's done by a popular British comedian, Hysterical, and it only got an 85. And an 85 is the middle end of what they have. And by the way the AI index works, it's akin to the Nielsen ratings. Is for, I think it's like either a month or a year or a viewing period. Select random families across England or across Britain are chosen, and they rate what they watch.
Yeah,
And
they say random though, and I'm not always guaranteed that. It seems odd that almost all the randoms rate between like 82 and 85, depending on what they're watching, with a rare few chance that they'll hit 90s, but never into the 70s.
There's always going to be a select amount of people that aren't into what you're watching. Not 100% of the people in England like Doctor Who.
That is sacrilege.
But it's true. There are going to be a percentage of the population that just don't get it. They don't like sci-fi. All they like is comedy and reality television.
And Brexit.
Or there's people that don't like sci-fi. All they want is the football. There are people like that. So there's going to be those people that get selected as part of this random thing that are going to rate it low because they don't watch it.
It seems kind of be a pointless thing if you ask me that, and it's just an exercise in futility.
It's one of those. It's basically just a random sampling poll.
It's a random sampling poll, and the only time you're ever going to get any noticeable number change is if something is actually really, really good that blows people away, no matter what, or if it's something so horrible that everyone just absolutely detests it.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to know.
I suppose. But otherwise, it's going to just always be the flatline mediocre 80s.
Yep.
And by the way, 80s is not mediocre according to the way the audience...
Well, it's not technically, but it seems to be their median.
It's
for Doctor Who.
For Doctor Who, yes.
Anyway, we dealt on that a bit.
On that. On Cultbox, they have the new behind the scenes and art galleries from Extremis.
We actually had this last time. Who put this back in?
Really? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
I think that's a mistake on my part. I think I left it there in hope that Cultbox would bring one up for Pyramid, and they never did.
And they never did. Okay.
Yeah, so I was just going to update the link, and they never did.
Not your fault, Tim. I just happened to look at this and go, wait, didn't we just do this last week?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my bad. I was kind of hoping, like I said, Cultbox would update it. And I was going to take it out today, but I got distracted.
And that's right. I wasn't here for this part of the news last week. That's why I hadn't seen the pictures closely before.
Extremis official ratings. Did we do that already, or is that new?
No, that's new.
Actually, that's yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's new. Yep. So that is okay. So the official ratings for Extremis, it got 20th place, although that's behind 4 episodes of Coronation Street, 5 episodes of Emmerdale, yada yada. An official rating of 5.53 million viewers. For those who forgot or didn't know, this is for all those who recorded the program or watched it within 7 days. I'm trying to see if it mentions. I forget whether this includes iPlayer or not, and I'm actually not seeing it mention that.
I think it does, but I can't swear on that.
I know originally it did not, so I'm thinking it does not.
Unless there's like a
No, I think
post rating for that too.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, except for maybe iViewer, that's about everything.
So as I mentioned, 20th highest of the day, or 20th highest of the day overall, and the 8th most watched on BBC One. The top ones on BBC One were 3 episodes of 3 Girls, 3 episodes of EastEnders, and Inspector George Gently.
And, of course, it had to compete with Emmerdale and Coronation Street from ITV.
Yeah. And the top from ITV was Britain's Got Talent.
Which it's going to be a problem, which...
Yeah.
Did I just do that to Bill? I think I just did that to Bill!
You've been waiting for weeks to do that. I'm sure.
But I will say, I think this is a rebound, which from the last couple episodes, I think we're in like the mid-20s, so it's gone up a little bit.
Yeah, I think the last
just a
time it
smidge.
was like 24 or 25.
It was like
so-
25, and then I think it
This
went up
is
to
step
23,
up.
and now it's stepping up again to 20. So it's
Yeah.
gradually rebounding.
There was, I think, a few things. There's an episode of EastEnders that actually went under it, which is unusual.
Yeah.
Mm.
They must have
Usually-
repeats or something.
Well, most of them are, I think, but it could have just been a really bad episode.
That's true too.
I would say, yeah. I mean, at the very least, for the day, it has to be a repeat because I can't do 5 new episodes per day. At least I hope not.
I hope
They
not.
might be
Otherwise
able
they
to.
lose a lot of
They might
people.
be able to. If EastEnders is kind of like a soap opera.
I know. I mean,
You
I
gotta,
could
you gotta
see.
realize that things like, As the World Turns and Guiding Light cranked out 5 episodes a day every day.
Okay, I was going to say, like,
Or every
I've
week.
heard of things. I've heard of shows that had 7 to 10 episodes a week. I
Yeah,
had never heard of
unless-
shows with 35 episodes a week.
Yeah, unless Saturday's like a recap of the entire week, I don't know that'd be all
Actually-
new episodes.
There are shows that might have 35 episodes a week, but they're on ESPN or the British equivalent.
Anywho,
Anyway, our next piece is Lay of the Land Publicity. I forget if we've read the blurb out loud or not, but I'll just go ahead with that since it's short. Written by Toby Whithouse and directed by Wayne Che Yip. The world is gripped by a mass delusion and only Bill can see the truth. When even the Doctor is fighting on the wrong side, it's up to Bill to convince the Time Lord that humanity's in deadly danger. If she can't do that, she may just have to kill her best friend. Here we see a propaganda photo of the monks. We see, actually, if I can, we see a character named Alan who looks to be a soldier or paramilitary.
something of the effect.
Okay, so I want to take that propaganda photo of the monks and Photoshop merge it with the one from the cover of Weird Al's Mandatory Fun album.
I see where you're going there.
Is it just me, by the way, or did when that shows up at the end of this episode for the next week thing, and just in that, look like it's supposed to be channeling Illuminati stuff?
It kinda
Well,
seems
they had the
sorta
whole
that
pyramid
way.
thing going for them
they
already.
used the pyramid this
Yeah.
episode, so the Illuminati connections were already there.
Mm.
The all
There's
seeing
no,
eye. And
there's-
technically the monks are
There's
the
no all-seeing eye, though.
Well, that's the monks
Yeah.
themselves.
Right.
Well, they did have they did have a video screen at the cone of the pyramid that they were watching all the labs through. That was like
See?
an interior, like obelisk, almost like thing that they were looking into, but it could have been seen as the top of a pyramid. Yeah.
Watch. When we get in, we discover that Bill is part of a resistance called the Swollen Eyeball.
Yeah.
Let's see. So there's what looks like, I don't know, a monk on a throne. A little more desiccated than the others, and with some sort of
the glowy throne, yeah.
headpiece and
Yeah.
such. Yeah.
Yeah, Cultbox was making a big stink about this picture.
And he doesn't look to be very aware of things since he's letting the doctor, fondle him and such.
There's a monk in the streets. He's got soldiers in the red outfits following him around.
And there we see, is that the first time we've seen one of the monks in something other than red? On screen, anyway?
I think we've seen
one
them in
of them
various
in
shades
this
of red.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we've seen them in yellow, like golden yellow color, orangey yellow.
Oh, okay, I
That's
must
one's
not have
an orangey
noticed
one
it
again.
then.
And we get to see some Missy.
Yep.
Question is that inside the
Inside the vault,
or is that outside?
maybe, because it's got a piano.
Yeah, it's got a piano, but look at all that light.
Yeah, it's hard
I mean,
to
she
say
looks
for
like she's
sure.
in like a gymnasium or something.
That's true. I mean, it's entirely possible. Yeah, I'm like, it's possible that it would be kind of weird if the vault was there and just,
windows
the
everywhere.
door,
but at the
that
same
big
time-
door was unnecessary. That would be really weird.
But at the same time, I'm kind of arguing that maybe the stuff is blazed out white in the background through the windows for a reason.
Right.
Like maybe there's actually
But
nothing out there.
That is the execution chamber, right?
Considering the vault was supposed to be this place to inter a body,
Right.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
think they'd be big on windows.
or even digital windows, maybe they aren't actual windows, maybe they're viewer screens or something.
Well, there is all that like stuff in the door. Maybe the doctor could screw with it to
Right.
suit the needs of it or something. I don't know.
I don't know. You tell me. Time Lord technology. What do the little ovals do anyway? I don't remember anymore.
There is another picture of her not being locked up in glass walls.
Are you? Oh yeah, I guess there's one where she's next to Capaldi.
Actually, that's still in the same location. If you take a look at the picture, you can see the light bar on the right-hand side.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's
and if
right.
you look
never
at one of
mind.
the earlier
yeah,
pictures,
yeah,
you can
okay,
see
yeah.
the light bar.
She's always in there in every scene so far.
You're just seeing it from a reverse angle. So, as far as we know, she gets to stick on the vault and give advice, and that's about
Yeah,
it.
it's possible that he walks really close to the vault. That's true.
Just one really big scene with some Missy.
And
Um,
I'm kind of torn between whether it looks like Bill's at a fire. No, I don't think she's at a firing range because that looks
Nope.
like the
Have
same
you
walls
seen
as
the-
the other picture.
have you seen the
I've
next
seen the
episode?
trailer, yeah, but I wasn't paying attention to the walls in the trailer. But I am seeing that it's the same walls as the image to the left of it. So that says no, it's not a firing range. It's just her stance made me think firing range, like her body language.
Nope. Look at the very bottom picture, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a firing range stance.
Nope. So anyway, that's about all we can really gain out of that.
I guess there's no new characters because there's no group of people at the bottom of the
Nope.
gallery.
Any of the new characters that showed up got killed last episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, this
They're all
Alan
died.
guy, so maybe I don't know.
Everybody
Oh, and
else is.
actually, I didn't realize before he has a pyramid patch on his thing, so maybe he's works for the monks.
Who does?
The Alan guy in the second photo on the top.
Oh yeah,
I think that's part of like the monks' new security forces.
essentially,
Right.
yeah.
All right, so our next piece is something we alluded to a little bit earlier, and that is that next week, Doctor Who will be scheduled at the same time as ITV's Britain's Got Talent. which means it will be eating the overnight ratings, which we'll hopefully make up for with time shift and other such things. This is because Ariana Grande, I don't know if that's how she pronounces it or not, will be holding the benefit concert named One Love Manchester, which will be raising funds for the Manchester Emergency Fund due to the recent attack that I actually don't know the amount of injured or dead from that, but I'm pretty sure there's a certain number of both.
Entries were over 50.
22
injured, I'm assuming?
And like 20-something dead, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
So yeah, because ITV does not want to risk, distracting people from it or going up against it, they've moved their time, which unfortunately coincides with Doctor Who.
Now, I wonder how many people would normally watch Britain's Got Talent that would watch Doctor Who and then watch Britain's Got Talent later is going to be sitting here going, oh man, what do I do now?
Right.
Yeah. Well, you watch one live and you record the other one.
Yeah.
Basically
I'm wondering. Yeah, which might mean the Doctor Who overnight figures take a huge plunge.
Right.
But then the 7-day after figures bounce back on
right.
it.
Will probably be huge.
So Britain's Got Talent will be at 7:30 p.m. and Doctor Who Lie of the Land will be at 7:35.
Wow, and Britain's Got Talent has a head start.
By 5 minutes.
All right.
Well, the BBC is effing weird that it will start stuff at 5 to 10 minutes after. I mean, we do because we're a podcast and we suck.
Well, nothing on the internet starts.
We don't do 24-hour programming.
We don't do 24-hour programming. I would add that nothing on the internet starts when they say they're going to start. Nothing.
Yeah,
although actually, if you want to hire us out, to run infomercials overnight, just let us know.
Just let us know. We'll run those all night on a stream sometime.
You would think a 24-hour network broadcasting channel would know how to schedule their time slots so that their big events start on the hour or the half hour. I mean, CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, and the CW all managed to get it to work, and they have to deal with commercials.
And commercials
Yet
can sometimes be more crazy than TV shows.
Yet the BBC, I see, starts stuff at very weird times.
Starting at
6:05 p.m.
Some of their stuff goes for weird times, so like Doctor Who itself goes for like 45 minutes to an hour.
I think they might have like 5-minute news updates or like weather or something.
I don't know. It just, as someone that likes stuff to be, on at those times, it bothers me because when stuff is late or early on cable around here, I get annoyed because I'm trying to DVR it and the DVR doesn't start on time or starts late or ends early or some shit that pisses me off.
Because I think a lot of actually no, never mind. They go off of whatever the TV guide has, and if the TV guide is wrong, then
don't even get me started on that. I hate it when that TV scheduling thing says an episode's a repeat when it's actually new,
right?
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Messes up the DVR. By the way, if anyone wants to share their channel for us to host on Unearthly Podcast, just post it to our channel in the little dialogue there.
That as well.
No.
Anyway.
So our next very brief story is Stephen Moffat has some words to introduce Lie of the Land. I guess he's kind of pimping the episodes that he co-wrote. He says the Doctor has lost, Earth has already fallen, and it hasn't just happened. It happened 6 months into a new totalitarian regime with which the Doctor is cooperating. I'm not sure if there's if the word "ago" is supposed to be somewhere, or if that's just a awkward sentence, or if we don't know what it is. But either way, it's not hugely new. That's kind of the information we had, especially if you follow the trailer and such.
Well, this does give us a little bit of information. There's apparently going to be a time skip here.
Yeah.
So we're going to be picking up on the action like a year later. This is actually reminding me much of the third series finale. And I'm wondering if Moffat's resolution is going to be very similar to that.
I've seen that comparison made. I think it might have been It was either Cult Box or Radio Times that I saw made that comparison.
Well, it has that feeling. I mean, what happened at the end of Here Comes the Drums? Master summoned the Toglophane, took over the world,
Bill
and then
telling people that the monks are evil.
Something like that. I mean, we're apparently, but that picked up like a year or so later with the Master in complete power. What happened at the end of at this one? Bill makes the agreement, and the monks say, now see the world, now see our world, and now we're picking up a year later. So it's going to have there's going to be a lot of comparisons between these two episodes. And I'm wondering if the resolution is going to wind up being with a temporal reset. Which means that scene that we've been seeing since the beginning of the Series 10 trailer, in which it shows the Doctor starting to regenerate,
could be during that, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be during that, and then everything resets and he's back to normal.
There's also the idea that I've seen mentioned, although I don't think it's going to happen, and we haven't included any full pieces on it because it's not necessarily news. The idea that this episode is actually taking place in the same simulation from last episode, and that it's just yet another possibility, and that the Doctor is going to start regenerating, and then we're going to cut back to the real world.
I hope not. Idea. I really hope not, because
it's all just a dream within a dream within a dream.
Doing that kind of zinger on us twice, I mean, that's
that's why the general consensus, I think, is that it won't happen because they already did it this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had done this 2 seasons ago, I could see that, because that would have been a Chekhov's gun.
That said, I will say, if it happened like, let's say, 30 minutes into this episode that just finished, and then we cut back to it again, and then and we realized that that was another part of the step, but it showed something new, and then finally they were going to really attack within the last 12 minutes of Pyramid at the End of the World, then I could kind of see it, but I don't think they would do a whole other episode, 3 episodes all dedicated to within the simulation.
No, that would really be some bad writing.
Okay.
Especially because they've now got 4 episodes in which to end the series. And we know one of them takes place on Mars.
Yep.
And we know the last 2 of them deal with Cybermen.
Yep.
Yeah, but if they do this particular ending again, it's going to be like, oh, so, anyone remember Dallas?
Kind of. Although they only did it was a dream once. So we've only got that once.
I mean, that rewrote like a huge amount of a season, though.
Now, if they did do that,
as I recall,
speculation, if they did do that, I think it would be an amazing thing to do if you discover that the monks are actually Cybermen.
That would be interesting, especially since they said this is not their true form.
Yes.
What if they do one of them was a dream and then the next one was a play? And I'm hoping at least one person got that reference.
I think I did. And go away so I can shoot Shakespeare again, please.
Oh.
That was a
Mamma
Mario.
Mia!
What?
So that was more Mario, but all right.
Actually, it was also Shakespeare, but yes.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes, our final piece on future episodes is. Does anyone know the actual correct way to pronounce her name? Because there's 2 possible ways, and I don't know which one's right.
Rachel Talalay?
Is that the correct one?
I think it's Talalay.
Talalay?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Right.
It's either Talalay or Talalay. The end of it's definitely lay.
Right.
And I think it's either Talalay or Talalay. I'm not sure. I've heard it pronounced. I can't remember which way I've heard it pronounced, actually.
But
because I know this is we've talked about her before.
Yes, we've talked about Rachel before. She's the one that directed Freddy's Dead, and that was not her fault.
Yep.
Then she's directed some of the best Doctor Who that we've had.
Yes.
Yep, she did. It was
The finale
Dark
for
Water,
Series
Death
8.
in Heaven, and Heaven Sent.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven Sent help.
She then went across the pond and has been doing episodes for Legends of Tomorrow.
But she's doing I believe she's doing the finale of this season. But what the news about her is that she will be directing the Christmas special, which is both Stephen Moffat and Peter Capaldi's final episodes.
So she's doing 3 in a row then.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's doing huge ones this year.
She is the modern day Graham Harper.
So what Stephen Moffat had to say about her was that making big budget spectaculars on no money at all is what we need, and Rachel's got such a deep background and such great ability at that. We're just finishing up on the finale episodes and planning the Christmas one, which she's also directing, which is my very last one.
Yeah, big budget on no money at all. It's no wonder that she also feels at home at the CW.
Well, let's face it. Her start again was a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which, despite what they may look like at some points, they never really had that much budget for those movies.
Probably not. I mean, they have a slasher budget, so that's usually between 25 to 50 million.
Especially by the time they got to movie 6, when they were just throwing however much they think they would need to sell some copies.
Yeah, not even that. And then again, you also got to remember that an Elm Street movie in particular has high demands for effects. And on a slasher budget, that's going to be hard to push.
And they had the 3D gimmick.
And then they also threw a 3D gimmick. I heard that she could never get to work properly despite what New Line wanted.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was far over because that was in modern money.
Yeah.
Not in.
So I'd say that's maybe modern money, but we're talking like mid 90s at best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was 91.
91, so early.
And
90s,
its budget was $11 million.
Yeah, the fact that she made that out of $11 million. Wow. Yeah, that's stretching it.
And it made 34.9, so tripled what it cost.
Can't say that they don't make the money.
I think at that point, that wasn't that bad. Here, these days, that'd be horribly disappointing.
Slightly disappointing, yes.
Because if a franchise movie doesn't make, at least $100 billion, they're going, nah, you're not going to make another one.
Well, that's when they stopped doing Nightmare, and then the only movie we had until Freddy vs. Jason was Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So it kind of was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's what was planned too. By comparison, the newest Nightmare on Elm Street did $115 million.
And what did it cost to make?
Let's see.
I would think it'd be right there too.
$35 million. So actually, it's kind of the same ratio that they both made, about triple their budget.
Yeah.
They weren't bombs, but they weren't huge overnight successes either.
Notice that one was between 25 to 50 million, which is what I estimated.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which in modern times, that's about what a slasher movie makes. Is somewhere in the $30 to $40 million range.
So yeah, she's had a very long experience and stuff like that. So trying to make a TV show on a shoestring budget, as they sometimes get to in later halves of a season, it's not surprising they want someone who knows how to direct something like that and gets the stuff done right. Mm-hmm. And she has plenty of experience in that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, she did such a great job with what was in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
She then went over, and I think she did both Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash.
Okay.
And she's done some very good episodes for both of those, including, I believe, the Series 1 finale of Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, actually, that's kind of funny now that I think of it. So with the DC TV shows, are they actually run by Warner Brothers?
They're actually run by a production company that receives the license from Warner Brothers.
Okay.
And then license it to the CW.
Because the funny thing is
the CW is the one that gives them the money.
Because the funny thing is that New Line Cinema got bought out by Warner Brothers. And that's where she first started doing work.
Really? When did that happen?
A long time ago.
That happened a long time ago, like towards the end of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was early
Did they keep the New Line?
New Line is
Yeah,
its own brand.
They kept the New Line name, and it's just owned by.
It's a sub-production company. It's like how Disney owned Touchstone Pictures.
It's like
like how Marvel Studios is not considered to be Disney Pictures,
even though it's under Disney.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, it's still its own entity. It's just owned by a bigger corporation now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But really, I mean, when I said that about the CW, budget-wise, compared to CBS, ABC, NBC, or Fox, CW productions have a fraction of the budget compared to those studios.
Yeah.
Because they're, the fifth of what used to be the big three. No, it was. It was the big CBS, NBC, ABC was the big three American television studios. And then the people were hoping for a fourth. Paramount got ready to do it, and then Fox came in. And after Paramount failed, Fox just blew everybody away, thanks to The Simpsons and Married with Children.
Yep.
And
Then,
early 90s.
And then they had American Idol.
Then they had American Idol, turned them into the Big Four.
Anyway.
And then the CW was two failing smaller networks, the WB and UPN, merging together to try to keep themselves alive. And if it hasn't been for Supernatural and the DC stuff, they'd be dead by now.
Shall we move on to the BBC store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked on her background enough. Thank you,
Yeah, I'm
Rachel.
talking a lot more than I thought I would be.
Thank you, Rachel. We'll see your work in Christmas time. I'm sure it'll be lovely.
Yes. Can't wait. All right, so some unfortunate news. BBC Worldwide, the BBC Store website and apps will be closing 1st of November 2017. BBC Worldwide has announced this. I should correct myself. It launched in 2015, gave users the ability to download programs from a lot of BBC stuff. It was also the chosen platform to launch the anime version of The Power of the Daleks. And then also, it's just not been doing all that well, especially in light of other services that have been coming up. I don't know. Yeah, you can also, you'll no longer be able to watch programs you purchased on BBC Store or BBC iPlayer, which that really sucks because, yeah. Refunds can be processed earlier than November, but you will lose the ability to access your programs once the refund has been issued. Refunds will be either credited to the user's bank account or can be taken as Amazon Video vouchers. Well, at least you can watch stuff on Amazon Video, but still, that does kind of clue people into the whole digital goods or digital access to goods type of thing, as opposed to just owning something on DVD and whatnot.
Yeah, what happens when the digital purchase you made closes down? I mean, you're in no danger with that from Amazon at the moment because Amazon is a freaking giant.
And there's no problem with that with Steam because Steam has been
10,
going
20
for 10
years ago,
now.
we have no idea what Amazon's condition is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
True. But I think by this point, the fact that we're talking about Amazon in 2017, when, it's been a thing for 20 years now, it's pretty well established.
Yeah.
But what is it going to be like in 50 years' time? I don't know. Remember, 50 years ago, Sears was a huge freaking company. So was JCPenney. And now they're closing down most of their stores and outlets and digital domains because they're not big anymore. What happens when the universe moves on to the next big thing?
But yeah, I think the biggest problem with this though is that technically this is a video rental program. Like you paid money to actually keep being able to watch the stuff that you paid money for, and you didn't actually have a hard copy.
This was actually like Amazon Video, Matt, where you could, or Vudu, where you remember where I actually bought the digital version of the movie Django Unchained in order to watch it. That's basically what this is.
You actually bought that?
Yes.
I had to sit down and watch that again sometime. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's on Vudu, but this is the thing is that on Amazon Prime you can also buy episodes and whatnot. and watch them
you can watch
digitally.
it. Yeah, you can watch it digitally.
Yeah,
the thing
you can either
is
rent
that
them and watch it one time, or buy it and watch it anytime you log into into that.
Now,
the thing is that you're
unlike
trying to
Netflix.
essentially get the right to watch something whenever you want to, as opposed to just paying a flat fee to watch everything you want to.
yeah,
Which is a
but
bit
even
awkward.
even so, the problem with paying that flat fee to watch everything is what defines everything changes on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a year to 2 years
Netflix,
ago,
for instance, I pay a flat fee for Netflix, but then they took Buffy away, and I still pay the same fee for Netflix.
yeah,
If
That's kind of
Netflix
my
offered to sell you a digital copy, I would still have the option to log on and watch Buffy at any time, just
right.
as an example.
And the same with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. These things were actually, you could purchase them and then you could watch them in perpetuity. You could
we've seen
download them
this-
to your machine, or you could stream it, and things would be cool.
We have seen this in the video game industry too, by the way.
Yeah, the problem with the BBC store was it was too little too late.
Mm-hmm.
It had come into the market when the market was already pretty saturated.
Yeah.
And it was offering pretty much only BBC exclusive stuff that was also available on Amazon, on,
and
Voodoo,
now it's
etc.
available on BritBox.
Yeah.
And BritBox
So-
is probably a better place to get it anyways, so...
So people are sitting here going, why would I pay for it here when I can pay for it here and probably even get it cheaper?
Or why would I pay for it here when I've already bought it off of Amazon or something like that, off of
Or
Amazon Video?
where I have all of my other purchases on Amazon. Why would I bother to do this when I could just click over here after watching the Grand Tour and
And just watch it right there, too.
right.
Yeah.
So it really much, and that's the problem we're having with all these places that are coming out with exclusive streaming services that are trying to get a piece of this pie, is they're oversaturating this market. There's going to be a streaming services crash in the near future, I predict. Amazon will come out of it unscathed pretty much because they're Amazon. Netflix will probably survive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Netflix will survive it.
Not too sure about Hulu.
Keep in mind, a few years ago, Netflix's future was in doubt too.
But they're not really now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've gotten through it and they've proven they can outlast it. So.
Yep. But these smaller little services like CBS All Access and BritBox and these other services may not last as long as people think, because when you're paying $5.99 here, $12.99 here, it all winds up adding up, and you realize suddenly you're paying $70-$80 for streaming services and different stuff, and a lot of them have the same thing.
And you just sit there and go, nah, it's time to slim this down and cut all the fat.
And that's where I think Marvel is doing for Netflix what DC is doing for CW in terms of providing that basic to guarantee staying afloat for the time being. Because with the amount of things moving to Amazon, Hulu, and such, I think it's all being questionable until it stabilizes. We should probably move on to books.
Yeah, time to move on.
Moving on to books. There's rectangular objects.
I was about ready to make the same joke.
Publishing has announced it's really releasing the autobiography of actress Deborah Watling called Daddy's Girl. And this is in honor of the 50th anniversary of her appearance in Doctor Who as Victoria. The 50th anniversary edition is also available to purchase with an alternative cover in a bundle alongside sister book Daddy's Girl in Pictures, and a set of 5 The Abominable Snowman location postcards.
Huh, I actually didn't realize that she was the daughter of Jack Watling. Well, I mean, he was apparently a huge film star. And, it was just one of those things where you didn't realize that, you hear 2 names and you're just like, wow, you didn't realize, you didn't put the 2 together. And by the way, that was the guy, Jack Watling's the guy that played Professor Travers in Web of Fear.
Okay.
Ooh.
So he has a Doctor Who connection too. I didn't realize though that he was the father of Deborah Watling.
I knew that she was a child star that was like the daughter of an actor. I just didn't realize it was an actor with a Doctor Who connection.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'd heard of Jack Watling because of, he had done a lot of films.
The More You Know logo pops up.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well,
you better. Yep.
Just one of those things that you just don't realize, is how small of an acting world it is.
Okie doke. So, good luck with that, Deborah.
Anyway, good luck. If you ever want to play some trivia, we have the Lethbridge Stewart quiz book, which is from Candy Jar Books.
Of course it is.
Books, and they've announced it's to time with 50 years of the character of Lethbridge Stewart. It's compiled by Mark Jones, author of the recent free story United in Blood. Collects together trivia from throughout the Brigadier's on-screen life, plus questions related to the Target novels, Big Finish, and the BBC audio stories, comic strips, and, of course, Candy Jar's own Lethbridge Stewart novels. So it's from practically everything that could be considered canon.
Vaguely.
Well, like anything that's in the expanded universe.
Examples of questions in this trivia book are: in the television story The Time Monster, what was Tomtit? Who was attempting to penetrate the Earth's crust in Inferno? What relation is James Lethbridge Stewart to the Brigadier? And, the toughest one of all, what does UNIT stand for?
Actually, that's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Because do you mean what did it stand for in the classic series, or what does it stand for in the new series? Because it's actually two different answers.
Yep.
That would be like asking someone from Marvel what the SHIELD stand for.
Yep, exactly. Only there was a reason for this one, because I will say this, back in the classic era, it was the United Nations Intelligence Task Force. They mentioned that once in the modern era, and then the UN called them and told them to knock it off. For whatever reason now, they decided they didn't want to be related to this group on Doctor Who, so they had to quickly get rid of the United Nations and just made it United Intelligence Task Force, with the U and the N both being under United.
And now the United Nations has come back to Doctor Who.
That's lame.
Yeah, it made sense that they were part of the United Nations. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it might have been also, look at their wonderful outing in 2005, where they all showed up to an alien conference and got electrocuted, so that might have been a little bit on why it left a bad taste in somebody's mouth at the UN.
Possibly. Anyway. Next.
Okay. Who Talk has been doing a series of unofficial alternative Doctor Who commentaries, which are audio commentaries meant to be played alongside the official BBC release. This one out now, and I'm sorry, this is by Phantom Audio, who produces these. The newest one, which is out now, is for The Green Death. This was Joe Grant's final episode and the second to last season finale for the Third Doctor. They brought in Katie Manning, who plays Joe Grant / Jones and other characters for BBC for Doctor Who audios, and Stuart Bevan, who plays Cliff Jones, who became Joe's husband. So they were brought in to provide commentary for the episode.
I don't remember Jones taking a big part of that story, but anyway.
Along with the two of them were Richard Franklin and John Levine, who played Mike Yates and John Benton, respectively, and Mitzi McKenney, who played the character Nancy in the story, as well as the episode's director, Michael E. Bryant. The commentary is hosted by Toby Hidoki, which anyone who's listened to at least our Big Finish section has probably heard his name many times.
What did you say, Matt? What did you not remember?
I don't remember Jones being a big part of that story, but
oh, he was.
Yeah, that was the only. I think that was the only episode he was in.
Yes,
but he was big enough for Joe to go marry him at the end.
Right.
And I remember seeing the end of that and just going, "Who's this guy?"
You must have missed it because they had this whole thing about this place that they went to while they were there called the Nuthatch.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
And
it
he
being
was the
that
head of the
interesting.
Nuthatch.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that interesting, and apparently she just got.
I don't think he was that interesting, which is odd considering this is Joe. But then again, Classic Who did have weird ways of marrying people off.
I suppose.
Yeah, look at Leela and Andrid from.
That came out of
absolutely nowhere. I mean, Andrid spends half of his time looking at K9, going, "What a wonderful thing!" I think he married Leela just for the damn dog.
In addition to the regular release, there's also a special signed edition, which includes a signature from it looks like a single member of the cast, plus a free pack of 4 postcards featuring artwork from the Who Talk series. Full details on how to order can be found at the Who Talk website.
Okie dokie.
Cool.
So there's that if you're interested, folks. Now moving on to Big Finish.
Big Finish news we have out now, Doctor Who Falling. This is, of course, directed by Jonathan Barnes, directed by Lisa Bowerman, and read by Aniki Willis. Is available from today on download. It's in the short trips range, which is, of course, I believe that's only singly narrated by one person, right?
Occasionally they'll have a secondary voice, but 90% of it's done by one person.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And so the excerpt synopsis we have is: long ago, Miss Polly Jack in the TARDIS with her friends, the Doctor and Ben together. Together they saw many remarkable things, some magical, some terrifying, some filled with awe and wonder. Only one incident, however, was truly inexplicable. A single encounter which failed to, at the time, wholly to make sense. At least, that is, until today. And, of course, a trailer is available for this as well.
Quick excerpt of it, yes.
And there's also Aniki Willis is joined by Elliot Chapman as Polly and Ben for next month, and 2 stories of Doctor Who: The Companion Chronicles, the First Doctor, Volume 2. So that will be out here shortly as well.
Probably why, because it's like, while you're in the studio, could you record this short trip?
Sure. Cha-ching. All right. Yeah. Next.
All right. Also in Big Finish news, we have. Let me scroll up here. We have a really big week for them for stuff that's being released. We have Doctor Who: The Eighth Doctor, The Time War, which is, it looks like it's going to be kind of Paul McGann. He will be returning, and he's going to be in the first of 4 series of as the Time War closes in on the Time Lord who will not fight.
So theoretically, these should be leading up to the the War Doctor box sets.
Yes, I was going to say
eventually,
and Night of the Doctor.
The second, third, and fourth series are scheduled early from July 2018, each priced at £20 on download and £23 on CD. You can also get a bargain bundle of all 4 for £80 and a download for £88 or CD.
Yeah, basically these should be the 8th Doctor. This should lead up to Night of the Doctor, which should lead into the War Doctor sets, which should lead into Day of the Doctor. Theoretically.
Cool.
Okie doke.
Because it is kind of disjointed going from Night of the Doctor to the First Doctor set. There's stuff that happened that we don't know about.
Right.
So
Okay, then are we continuing on with Bernice Summerfield or
no? That's
okay,
all
we
news.
We told you that the rest of that's already old news. We wanted the first bit there. What was the next thing here?
Next is Tim's piece, China.
China.
Yes, China. We could go all the way to China. Well, to watch Doctor Who, the BBC Worldwide has issued a press release indicating that the entire catalog of Doctor Who-related shows will be made available in China via Shanghai Media Group Pictures, and that includes a first look at Doctor Who up to its 15th series.
Now, I would like to state that a lot of the news sources have been touting this as proof that Doctor Who has been renewed up to Series 15. This is false. This is people reading into it and going, oh my God, making a mountain out of a molehill. Remember that this is between Shanghai Media and BBC Worldwide. And the only people that can actually greenlight a new series of Doctor Who is BBC One, which are a fundamentally different branch of the BBC.
But essentially what this means is that in case it does reach at least into 15 seasons, China has paid for the ability to be able to get those seasons.
Now, from what I can understand, Doctor Who has discussed with the BBC plans for up to Series 15, but that does not necessarily mean that those plans have been greenlit.
Because any season in between then and now could end up being a complete and total bombshell, and if it's that bad, they might just cancel the show altogether again.
Right. I mean, it's not in any imminent danger of that. Right now, it is the BBC's chief export to the world.
Pretty much.
But what this means is that they are putting Doctor Who in a whole new door. China has had some limited exposure to Doctor Who, largely through Hong Kong, which used to be a British colony. So they gained some Doctor Who appreciation via osmosis from Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. But this Shanghai Media will allow it to be shown anywhere in China.
And that includes the spin-off series, Torchwood and Class.
Okay, and Sarah Jane Adventures.
Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yep.
Oh,
and that means that they can get all of that. That means you can even get Doctor Who in the frickin' Qinghai province out there in the Bayankala Mountains. If you have a TV in the Bayankala Mountains, which is questionable,
and if you
because there are villages out there that have not actually advanced their technology in the last 3,000 years.
Some places, yes.
But the cities all through China and the actual major parts of China can all get access to this now. And that's absolutely beautiful because it's another area that will have Doctor Who fandom and demand for the product. And it also leaves Japan being the odd duck out.
It's very interesting this happening now, because considering that anytime Bill goes on a date, that episode will likely be banned in China under their current laws. So I'm very curious how that's going to actually play out.
I don't know if it will, because they don't really show anything.
They don't really do anything, and all of her dates are horribly interrupted by something.
Yeah.
I mean, she's basically talking up the girl, and the frickin' Pope comes in, and the girl runs off.
Yeah.
Here, she's getting up the nerve to talk her up.
So maybe as long as they never actually make it to the kiss, you think?
As long as they never actually make it to the kiss.
Which means there might be some parts of Class cut out.
Yeah, quite possibly parts of Class. But yeah, as long as they do that, China's going to be fine with it.
Because I'm sure Class is going to be such a very big, export market.
Yeah,
if they subtitle it or stub it right, then maybe it might help improve it.
But some episodes of Torchwood might be on that ban list too.
Yeah, that as well.
Oh yes, many episodes of Torchwood, and also.
Again, I don't know that they needed so much ban those episodes so much as trim some things out.
It kind of depends on which they decide is more cost effective to do: ban the episodes or re-edit them.
Mm-hmm. Especially if the episodes are important in the long run.
Yeah, but this is going to put more pressure on Japan to actually try to bring Doctor Who back into their fold again, because they are literally now the nail that sticks out in the world. Name any other country in the world, and they have access to Doctor Who in one way or another.
And most countries really like it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that includes their neighbor to the northwest, Korea. Mm-hmm. Now China has it to their west. The Philippines has it. Singapore has it. Australia has it. America has it. I think the only place that might not have access to it is Russia.
I was just about to ask, does Russia have it?
Which I think Russia is stricter and probably would ban any episode with Bill in it.
Probably ban anything with Bill in it. Probably ban at least half of
and anything with Jack in
and
it.
Torchwood.
I would have said they would have had access to it back earlier when they were being more friendly, but in recent years, I don't know.
Yeah, right. It's very iffy right now. But anyway, yeah, essentially in Asia, Japan's the one that's sticking out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's it for the news.
Mm-hmm.
And we did ramble a bit. Oh wow, yeah,
yes,
we rambled quite a bit actually. Wow, holy smokes.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's okay.
It's a lot of us that have been rambling. So was there something else we needed to get to next?
Bill wanted a couple minutes to do a quick review of Sense 8.
I'll keep it as brief as possible. Mainly the only reason I want to talk about it is since Freema Agyeman is, I guess you would say, the 9th main character. Sense8 season 1 was basically, setting up the premise, and it did that fairly well, and was, kind of leaned a little bit too much toward the, whatever you call it, art film aspect of it, and was a little, struggling in terms of the writing. That continues here, in the sense that it's very confusing at times. It's very nice to look at, but you often aren't quite sure what's going on. I will say that the biggest problem it has is that of the, there's essentially 7 plots going on, and only about 3 of them tie into one another, and the rest, they just kind of borrow characters here and there. This season's also notable that Sylvester McCoy has what I would probably call an extended cameo. He basically appears for a few minutes each in 2 or 3 episodes, in which, he's kind of being the mysterious, wizard/doctor guy, just a little bit. He's got, his full Scottish accent going on. It's not nowhere near as toned back as it is in Doctor Who, or maybe it's played up, one of the two. But he's not a major character, and he's definitely never going to be on screen with Freema unless something really significant happens in season 3. I'll probably say if you enjoyed season 1, you'll enjoy season 2, but I wouldn't say it's going to add any new fans that weren't already interested in the show.
At least not yet.
So Sylvester McCoy is really cashing in that Hobbit credits, huh?
I guess so.
I was in this movie called The Hobbit, don't you know?
Well, it's from Peter Jackson to the Wachowskis.
It's put his name back on the radar because he had been kind of downgraded to
he had been downgraded to BBV and Big Finish.
To Big Finish and conventions, really.
Yeah.
And then suddenly here comes Peter Jackson going, hey, I have a role for a wizard. Do you want to play a wizard in The Hobbit? But I thought Gandalf was... No, not Gandalf.
Have you ever heard of a man named Ragast the Brown? Sounds interesting. He likes animals. Ooh, goody.
I could see that, and then suddenly here he is, and that puts him higher on the hiring list since he's been in, a big name production like that.
Yeah. So he'll get little appearances in a lot of things now that interest him. So there he goes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to the 5-minute challenge because yes, we are behind schedule.
But we already know who's going to be doing it because he was already telling me earlier that he was writing for it. So Bill.
Okay, yep, give me a countdown.
You got the stopwatch up, Matt?
I've already got the stopwatch. So, ready then? Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
The episode starts with Bill and Penny going on a date and recapping the previous episode when they're interrupted by the United Nations Secretary General, who is, of course, looking for the Doctor. This is because a pyramid has appeared, I believe it was in Turkmenistan.
Turkmenistan or something like that. It's in what the fuckistan.
As we said last week, Plotganistan. where three powerful armies lie. The Doctor is brought to the pyramid, somewhat against his will, but this is the Doctor, so that's normal, where the monks are inside and tell him that they will take the Earth, but only once they're asked. Everyone on Earth's clock is moved to 3 minutes until midnight, which is a representation of the Doomsday Clock, which indicates a global catastrophe about to happen. The closer it is to midnight, the more likely such a catastrophe is to happen. Throughout the episode, it continues to move closer and closer to midnight. The Doctor gathers the leaders of the three armies, believing that this is necessary to avert World War III, although they later discover that's not the actual cause of the apocalypse. The Doctor, who is apparently scared of this situation, actually encourages the generals for once in their belief that an all-out assault may drive off the monks. It fails, but the monks do offer to talk. They demonstrate that the apocalypse is still going to happen, and that if those in power consent, they will save the Earth from it. The Secretary General claims to consent, but he does so out of fear, not love, so instead they kill him. The Doctor and Nardole, or should I first, the group realizes that it's caused by something else. So the Doctor and Nardole proceed to turn off all security cameras to potentially hazardous scientific labs, waiting until the monks turn one back on to know the source of the contagion that will cause the apocalypse. They arrive there, and the Doctor sends Nardole into the TARDIS to avoid the contagion while he blows up the lab. While this is happening, the three generals feel that don't expect the Doctor to succeed, or they're not willing to bet the Earth on it, so they agree to consent to the monks. However, because they do so out of strategy and not love, they are also killed. The Doctor sets up the explosion, but he finds that he needs to be able to view a combination lock to leave, and because he does not have his eyes or Nardole, and he is still, or should I say, he's still blind, and he sent Nardole away, he can't see and get out. Bill, who is at the pyramid with the now deceased generals, is willing to do whatever it takes to save the Doctor and consents to let the monks take over the planet. And until next episode.
All right. So I was a little bit slow, so I'm going to run this down a little bit. But from what I could tell, you did it in 3 minutes, like 2 seconds. You almost got a 3 minute flat.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That puts us a little bit more time. So let's move on to what you liked about the episode. And Tim, you're first.
Oh boy, first I get to steal someone's. Overall, I really liked the way the three army people were presented. These were supposed to be sort of like iconic characters, and that they were representing, but their individuality also sort of shone through in their actions and in their behaviors. If that makes any sense, like I get the feeling that it's supposed to be like just they were supposed to be like archetypes of like the three head armies, but they were still their own people, and that shown through, especially when they're dealing with whether or not to go through the deal with the monks.
Oh, so you're saying the fact that they basically weren't cartoon characters? They weren't John Wayne and whatever Russian stereotype and
Boris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool.
All right, Matt, you're next.
Something I liked about it in general. Trying to just pin one thing. Actually, you know what? I liked some. Their sets were actually really interesting, I thought. The inside of the temple, of the pyramid rather, is actually really interesting. It's simple, but it's shot really well to hide any possible like major flaws in it. Like that kind of lighting. They keep it simple, but they don't keep it like bad. They do what they can on a low budget and trying to do a sci-fi thing. And the strands look interesting, and they also have the lab in there, and they have the mobile, I assume, base for the 3 different nations to meet with the doctor and so forth.
I don't know if it was mobile or not, but it was definitely a.
It was definitely a nearby base of some sort. Yeah.
By the way, Turkmenistan was used before in the Zygon inversion. It was where they held Osgood, and it's where they got the crap bombed out of them before.
So that technically does fall in line with last season, that this is a place that exists.
Yes.
So we probably saved a whole bunch of Zygons out there then.
Quite possibly. You don't know how many.
Which might be why the 3 armies are there.
It might be. It might be when Unit bombed the thing, they set off an international incident that resulted in this whole 3-way head-on.
Yeah, that is also very much plausible.
Okay. Thomas, you're up next.
One thing that I generally liked was generally how the villains were approached. Like the whole, the people of Earth had to consent to being ruled, basically. That whole thing. Because like, considering this is Doctor Who, usually it's they show up, they want to take over, they just try to, or they try some scheme to, and this is like, no, we know something bad's going to happen, we just want you to willingly accept us as your overlords.
As your
what
lord
I
and
thought
master.
was kind of weird about that was that they didn't try to get the people of Earth to do so that kind of negates their whole ruling through love idea. They only wanted like the one person in charge representing the Earth, not even in charge, but representing the Earth to consent, and that was really it.
Well, if you think about it, trying to get the entire people of Earth to consent in one thing that would take months of polling.
And then a lot of people would not consent to the point of being ravenous in the streets.
But I mean, no, it wouldn't be 100% either way, but I feel like their justification would have needed much more of a PR campaign. Like I'm thinking, not like Harold Saxon style.
That's what I was about to bring up. It's like, haven't we already seen this before with Harold Saxon?
Right.
Look how that backfired.
All right, Aaron.
I liked Erica. She's probably my favorite character in this because I felt that her facial expressions were just really great. Like she knew when to look horrified or scared, and she also kind of kept it together too when they kind of wrote her character well, in that she keeps it together enough to try to at least try to solve the problem. She's not going into hysterics or anything in that, especially when she sees her partner melt like that.
And the strange man in a blue box appears.
She didn't do what most people would have.
That's the only point where she's taken a bit of gas, but who wouldn't be?
Right. She didn't do what most Doctor Who characters do in that situation. Be like, get out. I'm doing this by myself. You leave. You're an intruder. I don't trust you. She's like, okay, you're going to blow up the base? That's fine.
Yeah, well, because
I'll get out of here alive too.
She's the one who comes up with basically the solution for one of the solutions for it.
Yep.
Yeah, she's like, hey, this stuff is producing ethanol. That's,
I think the Doctor had already figured that out, but the fact that she came up with it on her own impressed the Doctor.
Yeah. He was either flirting with her or offering her to be a companion, and it was really hard to tell with, the way he delivered it.
It was really kind of hard to tell because he seemed to really be pushing that approachable point of that. I'm just like, wow.
It's easy to say though that she left a very big impression on him very quickly.
Although I'm kind of wondering if he was doing that for the sake of calming himself. Reminding himself, we're going to get through this,
Well, remember the fact that he's still half convinced he's Matt Smith. He's never got over that bit where he still seems to think he's in his 30s. appearance-wise.
It keeps trying to bicker for it.
Or in his 20s, actually. Yeah. Instead of looking like he's in his, 50s when he's actually in his 60s, Because remember, it was only 2-3 episodes ago where he's like grandfather. No, father maybe, but yeah.
Yeah.
So he's still under that delusion that he's younger than he appears.
To a degree.
And he'll probably regenerate with that mentality still there.
We can all blame Matt Smith for that now.
Well, at least it won't be written by Moffat, so...
Yeah. So maybe it will get written out.
What I do love about Erica is the fact that in absolutely no point did her stature come out into any of it.
No. There's not a point of anything there.
Nope.
She happened to be a very good scientist, and she continued to prove it throughout.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was beautifully done. Okay, Bill.
I honestly don't really have anything new to add, so I'm going to pass.
Okay. I really like the use of the Doomsday Clock. Even though technically their time was wrong on it, it was probably right when they filmed it. Which is, if they filmed this back in 2016, it was still at 3 minutes to midnight.
Oh yeah, I got, because in January it was moved up.
Yeah, it was when Trump took office. It went to 2.5 minutes to midnight, where it's been sitting ever since.
I wasn't sure if it had moved to 2 since then or not.
Nope. Unless they did it according to their website right now, they're at 2.5 minutes to midnight.
Okay.
It might be getting moved up to 2 pretty soon, with what's going on with North Korea. So yes, by the way, the Doomsday Clock is a real thing.
We just backed out of the Paris Accord, so that could be a few.
Oh, did we actually back out? I hadn't heard.
I'm seeing. Okay, let me clarify that. I'm seeing people say that we did, and I'm seeing people say that he's still planning to announce it. So I actually haven't looked up a primary source, and it was probably sloppy of me to say that out loud. So we're on the verge of doing so. If we haven't, I think we may have.
I do not see any articles on that, and that would be very top story news.
Okay. He's announcing it on Thursday, so the people saying that it was already happened were saying that prematurely.
He's expected to withdraw from the agreement.
Yeah, that would be the case, yep.
Okay.
So Thursday it may change.
Okay. So, yeah, at this point, it stands at 2.5 minutes to midnight. It has been since January, which made it interesting filming this because they mentioned Trump, but they started the Doomsday Clock at 3 minutes to midnight. I still like the use of it, and it's a real thing that I've been aware of pretty much since I was 8.
Welcome to being part of the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, back when it was like 2 minutes to midnight all the time. Yeah. All right, so parts of the episode you didn't like overall. Tim?
I thought they could have brought up the Doctor being blind a bit more. Like, there were times when I practically forgot he was supposed to be blind.
I'm assuming that's sarcasm.
Can I mention on an aside, I really like the use of the sonic sunglasses as a prosthesis. That actually works, and if Moffat had this planned last season when he created them, I actually have to applaud the man.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know he didn't, because he literally had the whole blind thing come up with the writing of this, and he said, we'll go with this. But it's the most useful use of the sonic sunglasses since
I will say it's really weird that the sonic sunglasses can't help him see, but he can see a recording that was emailed to the Sonics.
Actually, no. It makes a lot of sense to me, considering how the sonic sunglasses are working.
It's like a psychic link or something.
Like I get that they're psychic, but I don't get why. Like, the camera on the glasses can't see what's in front of him, and
it's not a camera.
It's actually not a camera because it's a sensor more than it is a camera.
It's using basically sonic. It's basically using sonar and echolocation to create a 3D digital map around him.
and then also relaying what information the song can come up with as it's scanning people around him.
But because it's using that, it can only relay flat surfaces and can't relay colors.
But it was able to email him enough information that they knew what the monks looked like.
Again, that was because
It was sent a video through an email, essentially.
And we actually don't know if he saw the actual full-colored thing that we saw, just what the sonic sunglasses picked up and sent to him. We saw it in color because we were transferred into there.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
they saw enough that Nardole knew to recognize them.
Well, he said, based on the details you gave me, I'm guessing that's that, rather than flat out.
I know it's them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, what didn't you like?
Oh, what didn't I like? I have to say that and it's probably just a personal thing, but despite the whole fact that these aliens aren't obviously point blank just holding a laser gun to the world's head and saying, "Last few rulers or we shoot," it still very much feels like they're shoehorning their own rubbish similar idea, just that they're not actually using a gun so much as they're threatening apocalypse.
We're not going to kill you, but we don't have to save you.
Yeah.
Right, that's basically their mentality. The thing is...
And it's really kind of meh.
My question is, if you're trying to get the people of the world to love you and consent to what you're doing to them, why make yourself look like a corpse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their response was,
well,
you
they
all
do
are
bring
corpses.
that up in the thing. Yeah.
They bring it up, but their response is, you all are corpses. But a thing that it still doesn't make sense to me. If you're trying for this, I mean, apparently, if you want the world to love you or hate you, just turn yourselves into a bunch of clones of Donald Trump. Apparently, you'll at least get a large chunk of America that way. But yeah, I mean, turn yourself into, copies of, high politicians or movie stars.
Yeah,
or a bunch of supermodels. That'll get you the right there.
Well, people wouldn't want to stop talking to you if you're a bunch of supermodels, yeah.
But why look like a bunch of decaying monks? That doesn't make sense.
That defeats the whole point of the rule by love instead of fear.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's some more that will come into this in episode 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if there's actually any real development on that.
Okay, I believe we were up to Thomas.
Yep. This is the funny thing is the thing that I wrote down was something that I didn't think about until I watched the Whovians episode afterwards, where they brought it up as a nitpick. The door that the Doctor has to try and get out through, that he can't sort out the combination for. Why didn't it have Braille on it?
I was just thinking
they're
that
accommodating,
myself.
they're accommodating little people and all this other shit and whatever, but they won't accommodate blind people.
Maybe because they had no blind people on staff. But no, that is an oversight.
And also, why couldn't he just tell how the numbers were etched into the plastic like that?
Because I think they were etched into it, weren't they?
That actually would be an interesting thing. Like if he was like, I'll just feel my way through, and then he burns his hand at some point and can't do that.
I have another issue with that whole ending, and I will bring it up on my turn. But yeah, there's definitely a few things wrong with that whole bit. Moving on to Aaron.
I didn't like how the near reveal of his blindness was teased throughout the episode. Like, oh, I'm going to tell her now. Oh, I'm going to tell you now. Oh, yes, something's come up. Sorry. It just felt it was annoying.
I didn't mind that. But what I'm disappointed is how she didn't pick it up.
That was my point, Ran. That was my bad point of the episode.
That's fine. Merge yourself into this then.
She starts off with Nardole is standing next to her, narrating to the Doctor what he's supposed to be seeing.
Yeah,
she doesn't get it. Then he goes, something important to tell you, and immediately thinks of blinding people. and she still doesn't get it.
Yeah, that should have been the 100 proof clue right there. And
between those two, the fact that she doesn't get it makes me wonder if Penny dropped her on her head.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Now, if they had cut that last scene a little better, where he's saying, "But all this," and then she said, "You're still blind, aren't you?" Mm-hmm. That would have made it so much better. That final payoff right there.
Again, if she'd arrived at that herself.
If she'd arrived at it herself instead of having to have it deliberately told to her, it would have been a lot better.
What would have helped if he had been like, "I have something important to tell you. Wait, Nardole, to the TARDIS." And that didn't actually say his plan until they got in. That would have helped. But that still wouldn't excuse the scene where Nardole was narrating to the Doctor everything that was happening 10 feet in front of him while he stood next to Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was... There's a lot of things that would have been really obvious clues that Bill completely failed to pick up on. And this is supposed to be Bill who's traveling with the Doctor because of her insight.
Mm-hmm.
No. You just botched that role. Okay.
Botched that role like 5 times.
So that was Aaron's and Bill's put together. So what I didn't like about this episode is the ending where they're dealing with the potential for this bacteria to escape. And they're coming out in hazmat suits and back and forth and everything. And here the Doctor's doing all this in plain clothes, messing with the stuff, planting the explosives. Yet we've noticed at this point that bacteria can escape on a person. So even though the Doctor got through to safety, there's no reason to think that the bacteria didn't, even if he's immune to it himself being an alien, there's no reason to think it didn't get out on his clothing.
Unless in order to get out, you have to go through some sort of...
Except we never saw any form of sterilization.
Right.
They never show, but that's...
And it's not like he was wearing the suit.
That's
it would be one thing if it would be one thing if the reason it took so long, because it took him 16 minutes from getting there and talking to her to actually having a plan, if part of that time was him, putting on a suit.
But he never did. Yeah. Or if he was expecting this and had come out in the spacesuit. The original one, not the one from the new series, which apparently would kill you. But yeah, coming out in something like that in order to, do this kind of thing as a precautionary. Instead, they're wandering around in plain clothes. And the other guy, her partner, was a fucking idiot for not wearing a goddamn helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bugged me as well.
But the Doctor was even more of an idiot, and so was Nardole for walking around there plainclothes. Because, yes, the bacteria could get away on your person. So, the only way for that would have happened would have been the Doctor to remain in that airlock, which he didn't, to have him strip nude and burn his clothing. And then give him a hazmat suit or something to put on. That is actual standard procedure in a quarantine incident like this. Is they strip you down, they hose you off with this special sterilization gear that kills bacteria and other stuff before they'll let you out and into a jumpsuit. It is basically CDC standard procedure. And they didn't do any of that, so that was freaking annoying to me, because that just meant, oh wow, the Doctor's just carrying the bugs out on his own. He'll still doom the world. Okay, so best scene, Tim.
I love the scene where the Doctor says to Nardole, "Are you following me?" And he's literally following him.
That is a very old vaudeville routine. And
I love vaudeville.
Yeah, and the fact that they could pull that off so subtly was actually pretty awesome.
I like how Nardole didn't even realize the physical. He's like, "Yeah, I think so."
Well, that's the whole point of the routine. And the fact that both Peter and Matt are so good that they could just do this off of each other so casually was beautiful. All right, Matt, your favorite scene.
Favorite scene. I do like... there are some... Again, we've mentioned the fact that there are some major flaws in the finale, But I will say the finale, the way they make it so the finale works is very interesting. The whole actually, the only way to save the Doctor is to sell off the world, but then hopefully the Doctor can save the world afterwards. But we don't know that for sure, and we'll have to see next time. Also, that also throws in the fact that there was a good reason to hold on to the blind shtick from 2 episodes back, because they had made a payoff in this particular episode. Last episode, it was kind of worked in too much to the point of being annoying. This episode, it still had annoying moments, but it wasn't nearly hammered over the head as hard, as often.
Until you hit the payoff.
Until you get the payoff, and then it's like, okay, yeah, fine.
I think that's why Moffat said, keep this around, I have an idea, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, Thomas, your favorite scene?
Thankfully I had 2, because basically one of the things I had kind of worked into what Matt said. So I'm just going to go with, and funny thing is, the only other thing that I wrote down was something that's technically been brought up before, but not as a favorite scene. And it was just the fact that the whole thing of Erica, like, both asking the question of how the hell are you going to set this off, but then immediately coming up with the solution on her own anyway.
Well, you notice the Doctor loves to do this, is he loves to lecture to people like he's actually teaching a class when he's in the middle of a crisis.
Well, you notice that was the first thing he did when they showed up, and actually, he was actually asking, he wanted her to see for him, but he was making it sound like he was just doing it for the sake of teaching her. Like she was his doctor intern.
Well, actually, I think, like I said, I think he had already figured that out, because that's pretty much SOP for bacteria. But it was just that, bingo, you know. He seemed to be really impressed with her coming up on it on his own, because usually he'd have to explain it. Or have to explain it later.
Or, depending on the incarnation, he would just adopt a superior tone, mock her for not knowing, and continue.
Especially because, like, the main thing I like that she got at herself was, I mean, she's a friggin' scientist. Like, if she didn't come up with that on her own, then it would make her look kind of stupid.
Well, it depends. She's a research scientist, not an ordnance scientist. She knows how to research this stuff, not to make it go kablooey. Completely different.
Well, at the same time, as a research scientist, she should know that there should be problems if she brings certain elements in.
You're going to have a high school education.
Not that you don't know it, just that your mind does not necessarily work in that particular way.
Yeah, that's true. If you're primarily research focused, you may not be geared for high pressure situations.
Or just geared. I mean, the fact that somebody may have a PhD in chemistry means they'll know academically that putting 2 chemicals together will make a volatile explosion, but that doesn't mean that their brain will actually fire that off on a real world situation. It's theoretical. It's just basic fact knowledge that they just leave rattling in the back of their heads.
Well, I think they knew they were in like hazmat suits and everything, so they were kind of trained somewhat. They knew the precautions that they had to take. They knew what might happen.
Yeah, but that was not against explosion. That was against contamination. That's the reason you wear hazmats in those kind of situations, is you don't want cross contamination. Again, weaponizing what you have into an incendiary device, while you may have the knowledge, is not something that most people would use practically. Unless, of course, you're a diehard role player and have improvised that situation multiple times in game. Yeah, I've done that in game.
Somebody's been watching that Star Trek
or I've
episode with
GM'd a
McGorn
game,
again.
Or I've GM'd a game and had them use it against me. All right. So that was Thomas's favorite scene. Aaron, your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is the one where the Doctor has his eureka moment and is running around calling himself adorable and approachable. I'm like, yeah, you are, Capaldi, you are.
Again, I think he's still under the delusion he's Matt Smith at the time, but yeah, that was a good scene. I've chuckled at it like every time I've seen it, which is 3 times now. Bill, your favorite scene?
I've been trying to come up with one, and I think I'm going to have to pass. I just haven't come up with one.
All right, my favorite scene is the one where the TARDIS materializes around the Russian Privyet. And he's just like, what the fuck? And it's just like, sorry, we had to home in on you. That's the Secretary General. I'm the President of the world. That's the leader of the China Army. Let's talk about World War III. We're against it. What do you think? And the look on his face of, the fuck. All right, least favorite scene.
Least favorite scene.
Yep, it's you.
I really didn't like how Bill's date was just dropped from the episode so abruptly. That was...
I understand it because, the Secretary General is going to want the person connected to the doctor, not the person connected to... That's just connected to the person connected to the doctor. Not when you already have the person connected to the doctor. So that and the fact that, you're at something that might be turning into a date and the freaking UN shows up. Yeah, I'd be hailing a cab too.
Yeah, especially if you're not someone who's interested in getting involved in a crisis. If you're just out for like a quiet night and then that happens, I could see running off.
Now the thing is, you'd almost think that Bill would be used to it now. It's like, okay, well, this is happening.
Well, Bill's not used to dates happening. She mentioned that last episode.
No, I meant crises. Okay.
Oh.
Secretary General, how can I help you today? All right.
Well, she's not thinking with her brain at that moment.
All right, Matt, your least favorite scene.
Least favorite scene. I'm gonna go with why did we use the ham-fisted stock footage?
Ham-fisted stock footage?
When people grab the wires to see what the dead guys are seeing. The monks. They also just go to stock footage. It literally looked like something that would have been ripped right out of the opening for Fallout 1.
Actually, that would have been a great opening bit.
Whoa,
to have them grab the wires for that. Have them grab that.
Yeah, we should
and cut in the opening to one of the Terminator movies. No, not the musical opening where they always show the bit
where
in the
they
future.
show the lasers and the big tanks and the cyborgs running through the piles of rubble. Yeah,
that would have been great. All right, Thomas, your least favorite scene.
I've pretty much settled on the 3 military leaders just going to going to the monks again to try it, and it's like, that they've already explained, because I'm pretty sure it's nipping in the sense that I forget exactly if they'd already clarified that it had to be through love. Because
they did.
Actually, no, yeah, it was, because the doctor specifies.
By the way, you're doing my number 2.
The whole love is slavery thing, whatever. So they already knew that it had to be like a genuine love thing, but they try anyway. It's like,
well, I think they might have been interpreting love differently as love for country, love for the planet.
Well, I guess they never actually word it that way. It's pretty clear that they're just kind of doing it for the sake of it.
They're thinking strategically, which they're military minds. That's how they're trained. Aaron.
I didn't like the scene where Nardole just collapses. The TARDIS fills with smoke, and he just kind of falls over. I don't know why. Is he like infected or something?
That's what I'm wondering myself, is the fact that we first of all hear that he has human lungs because the doctor got them cheap. I don't want to think about that. And then, of course, he's been wandering around this place on there. He goes into there. He starts coughing and collapses. Does this mean that the TARDIS is now infected with the bacteria?
Well, no, we see the console for the TARDIS burst into smoke.
Yeah, that seems a little bit derived. If it wasn't to do with the bacteria, then that's derived.
It's just so vague, and like I know about you guys, but I didn't know what was going on in that scene. Really, it was just a means of getting Nardole out of the way so that he couldn't help the doctor.
Pretty much.
It was a pure plot vehicle that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, to me it looked like it's just that he might have inhaled enough to make him pass out, just not enough to actually.
But that doesn't explain the smoke coming out of the console. Mm-hmm. Like I said, that whole thing is kind of a plot T-bone.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be like actual like gas from the thing or not. Yeah, that was a bit vague.
And it might have been that there was more explained that got cut or something, but either way, they needed to do something more with that. The whole thing was to get him out of the way so that he couldn't use the TARDIS to come rescue the Doctor. Mm-hmm. But they didn't explain it well enough. All right, Bill, your least favorite scene.
So, I know that my first one is taken, so I'm going to go with my second one, and there's some justification for this, but I think the justification is weak, and I still don't really like the scene. And that is when everyone's expecting the Doctor to be like, yeah, we'll talk them out of it. And he's like, yeah, bomb them.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he was, like, pissing himself scared because he was blind and nobody realized it. Actually, well, Nardole knew he was blind, but even still, that's not a response you expect from the Doctor, or are happy to hear from him.
And damn you, Bill, for taking mine.
Unless they're Daleks or Cybermen. Oh, really? I thought you were talking about the ending. Oh.
No. Matt took the ending.
Matt took the ending? Oh.
Yeah.
I apparently wasn't listening as closely as I thought I was then. Oh, actually, no, because I remember commenting. I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah, so I have to go with you on that one. That's so not a Doctor response. Even if he's blind in that, I still don't believe his innate response will be bomb them.
Especially, I mean, yeah, even taking into the fact that he doesn't know how to win, there's also the fact that he can be 99% sure that no bomb on Earth, unless it was, strong enough to wipe out humanity, is going to defeat the monks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and related to that, I'm also going to take as my least favorite scene the resolution of that. I can understand them landing the plane and doing the swap out with there, but the submarine was over the top. If they had just landed the missile there,
right?
That's the funny thing. The funny thing was, at first I almost thought
I thought they were just going to take the missile, but then they were like,
yeah.
I was like, wait, why did they take all the people out of the submarine?
Yeah.
Submarine. Really?
Yeah, I mean, that would have been my response if they tried to do it again, but yeah.
Hi, trains.
Yeah, train. Happens. So I'll take that. This is not a rating night. So basically at this point, give your final thoughts and any predictions for the final episode. And Tim, that's you.
I thought this was a very good episode. It was nothing too remarkable, but that for once that didn't really work against it. I didn't think there was anything jarring about it. So, but I thought it was a good segue from last episode to what I'm sure will be the most earth-bending episode of all time in next week.
Any predictions?
Okay.
None?
I have one prediction.
And?
I predict that Naruto will breathe again.
That's not a hard prediction considering the fact that you see him in the trailer. Okay, Matt, your thoughts.
My thoughts. I do think that a lot of the slight build-up from last episode did help pay off for some things in this episode. There are still a few little minor flaws, but they're minor flaws and nitpicks as opposed to like huge gaping maul problems with it. So far the story seems to be coasting on decent at the moment, so we'll have to see how the third act finally finishes things up, if it does in fact finish in the third act.
Okay. Any predictions?
I predict the Doctor is going to get to the bottom of this and win.
That's not a prediction. It's a Doctor Who episode, Matt. Things will be resolved by the end. That's kind of how Doctor Who works. Okay.
But we don't know if it's going to be next episode yet. I'm going to predict it happens next episode.
What if we predict that the Doctor's going to fail and everyone on Earth will die?
Well, that's kind of a downer ending, isn't it? That's a series finale, and I don't mean the end. I don't mean for this year. I mean that's the end of the show right there.
Next 5 episodes are nothing.
Well,
but
I mean,
darkness.
as long as the Doctor escapes to go to another planet and pick up a new companion.
Yeah, but then you can't have Earth in the show anymore.
I have to find a new favorite planet. I also have to find a new version of France.
It will turn out that the entire episode took place in a snow globe.
See, there's a prediction.
That was last week.
Okay, Thomas, your final thought.
I like just to keep it short. Basically, I liked this episode better than last week's, but due to the ongoing nature of it, like I don't really know ultimately what I think. Like I'll probably once the next one comes out.
That's why we don't rate these until the end of the story arc, because it's too hard to do if you only have part of the story.
Prediction wise, I guess it's not really a prediction because it seems like kind of obvious, but the only reason the Doctor will be working with the monks, would be that he's trying to figure out on their end any weaknesses or any stuff he can find to use against them, I would assume.
All right.
So pulling a 6th Doctor.
Well, no, pulling pretty much every Doctor that's ever had to momentarily work with the bad guys.
Yeah, but the 6th Doctor was notorious for looking like the bad guy for doing it.
Aaron.
I kind of like this one. It's kind of a slower one, slower episode. There's not a ton of action sequences and stuff. There is some tension in the lab. Let me see here. I don't really have any predictions because I'm not quite sure where this is going to go other than the obvious, everything will turn out somewhat okay in the end. Maybe they'll go back to having the Doctor be blind again, but I highly doubt it.
All right. Bill?
I wasn't a huge fan of this episode. I felt that in general there were more things done either wrong or neutral than were done right, but there is the huge caveat that I have no idea what next week will bring, and it may, make cast some of it in a new light. Altogether, my only real prediction for next week is that Missy will be a huge spanner in the works in some way. But even then, with the images we saw, she may have less of a role than we thought she did. She may just be teasing for her role in the finale. So, I am wondering if Missy is going to be the one telling Bill to shoot the Doctor or something to that effect, which would be pretty interesting. But I don't know.
All right. So I don't think this is a great episode. It definitely has middle episode syndrome. And the fact that you kind of you start and end on a cliffhanger, So you're kind of filling in the lull between cliffhangers. And it has a couple of plot holes in it, especially near the end there with the resolution, or the quasi-resolution, I should say. But the acting is good. The direction's okay. Special effects are fine. But we'll see what happens in the final one. My prediction is the fact that this will end in some kind of reset button that is going to take everything back, and we might see the Doctor die somewhere in the course of the next episode, only to have it taken back. Kind of a la Last of the Time Lords.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's our thoughts on Pyramid at the End of the World.
All right. So if you enjoyed listening to us, please go ahead and like the video on if you're listening on YouTube, so we know what you think. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube and also on Twitch in order to get our new streams and uploads as soon as possible. And you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for news and updates. You can also support us at patreon.com/unearthlypodcast.
All right, and on next week's show, Bill has given the Earth to the monks, and the Doctor seems to have capitulated. All hope seems to be lost, but oh wait, we have Missy? It's The Lie of the Land, written by Toby Whithouse and starring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, Matt Lucas as Nardole, and guest starring Michelle Gomez as Missy.
Yay.
See you for it next week.
See you next time.
Hopefully my tongue's not as swollen then.
Yay.